Welcome back to the show. We got a great one lined up. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. Really quickly, you can join us in the Freedom Zone on YouTube. Click the join button under any titled video, or click down the description box, click more, and join us in Patreon. For less than the cost of a cup of coffee per month, you get every single daily video with 0 Google ads. That in itself is worth the price of admission, let alone all the extra content we get into. Now let's get started. Now, I have been waiting. You guys know that I am very outspoken when it comes to speaking on things, speculative, opinion-wise, whatever. I love sharing my ideas with you guys. I have wanted to speak on Link2 for quite a while now, but I think a lot of you, certainly the adults in the audience, understand I'm not able to, and that's the problem. And I want to, but I can come forward to say this, and I want to share this with everyone. Listen, first of all, you've heard a lot of very damaging, defaming, slanderous remarks made towards me. And I would just like to say to those people, I know that you're jealous. I know that you're envious. Most of these people are like bottom feeder influencers, right? That are saying these things. They're trying to tarnish your reputation and all those things. They lack the discipline from the adults that raised them. But there is a Maryland courtroom that can help them find that discipline if they're not careful. Because here's what I can say. I am an investor on the platform, and whatever position you're in, I can assure you I'm in it with you. Look, remember, Britney Spears got a Pepsi endorsement, I think it was. Isn't that what it was back in the day? In fact, it was. She had a Pepsi endorsement, Britney Spears did, but she drank Coke. The thing is that's not what's going on here. I promoted Link2. They were a sponsor on the channel. And the reality is I am also a customer on the platform. And I hold a significant position in different private equity opportunities on the platform, like Ripple, customer on the platform. And I hold a significant position in different private equity opportunities on the platform, like Ripple, Kraken, Uphold. Let's see. I don't even know if I'm in Kraken at the moment. Circle, and then Link2 itself. So whatever boat you may be in, I can assure you that I'm probably in a greater position than anybody hearing my voice right now. So I want you to know that we're in this thing together. We're going to get the information we need together. And as soon as I can speak more on the matter, I absolutely will. But I can tell you, I have saved those most and all of those screenshots from those people, those other influencers out here, to try to use a moment like this to capitalize on you without having the facts. Now, again, I'm not withholding anything. I'm not allowed to speak any further, and I just walked out to the edge of the ice at the moment. But that's what I have to share. I've been waiting so long just to share that. And I'm hoping before too long, we will hear directly from Link2, as all of us as customers in the same boat need to. So we'll bring that to you when we have it. Right now, $2.78 trillion market cap for crypto. The market's off 1.6%. Bitcoin, 82,700 plus. Ethereum, 1,800 plus. XRP's $2.14. We're up 0.5% in the 24. We're off 10.9 on the 7-day. Range of price for the asset XRP is $2.08 on the bottom. Who bought it 209? Who did it? Bradley did it. That's who did it. I bought that dip. Yes, I did. Yeah, it felt good too. Looking right here, Japan to legally classify Bitcoin and crypto assets as financial products on the Nikkei. This is a huge step forward for Japan. And like many other countries, there's been a bunch of back and forth on how they're going to treat these crypto assets. Well, here is what is going on with Bitcoin in Japan. Head on a swivel. We're going to the US. Are you ready? I shared this yesterday. FDIC says banks can engage in crypto activities without prior approval. This is an official green light. Lock in. And guess what? I'm not the only one who thinks so. So does crypto czar David Sachs is calling it a big win for crypto, and it is, America. The FDIC just acts reputational risk, a sneaky rule that let banks freeze out lawful crypto firms with no real reason. No more backdoor debanking, no more regulatory gray zones. Banks can now work with the crypto without begging for permission. This is a game changer, ladies and gentlemen. Even moving up to the legislation, this is a game changer. This shift crushes a key tool from Operation Choke Point 2.0 and lines up with Senator Tim Scott's Firm Act and the OCC's new stance. Is this the moment crypto finally goes mainstream in the U.S. finance? I think so, and bring legislation with it. David Sachs further put out this clarification from the FDIC, so there is the exact message going out to the country and all the banks in the banking system. Who's going to be the first one? Who's going to be the first one? Bank of America? PNC? PNC was the first U.S. bank to work with Ripple. Who's going to be the first one to dip their toe? Because once the first one does it, it's going to be a domino effect. Write that down. Over 5,000 U.S. banks have been given the green light, ladies and gentlemen, and can now enter the crypto market as our regulators are lifting the approval requirements, signaling a major shift towards digital asset integration and streamlined oversight. This is a clear indicator that this green light is we're about to experience everything we've talked about for the last 7 years. I think the phrase is lock in. 5,000 banks got the green light to enter crypto. I ask you the question one more time. Which one goes first? And remember, it takes two to tango. If I'm going to use this new technology, I need somebody to use it too so we can send it back and forth, isn't it? I covered this yesterday. India's banking giants are secretly testing XRP's private ledger very quickly.
We are working with Ripple, XRP.
We are working with Ripple and XRP. Got to keep it moving. Got a lot to go over today. And then we know FedNow. Well, isn't that interesting that Ripple is integrated with FedNow because the FDIC just gave the green light to 5,000 banks and they're all connected to FedNow. And now they're connected to FedNow and Ripple because Ripple's connected to FedNow. Wait till we get to the end of this video. Remember when Brad Garlinghouse was asked about Japan and he pivoted to SWIFT very quickly?
Markets like Japan, I think, are still unlocking. The market opportunity here is massive. You have trillions of dollars flowing cross-border globally. It's still largely dominated by the SWIFT network, if you will. And that's architecture. That's a technology architecture that's developed 50 years ago. There's an opportunity to modernize.
There's an opportunity to modernize. Remember, while we're talking about this, what do we understand? We understand that 5,000 banks just got the green light, and Brad wants to talk about SWIFT and needing an upgrade, and it's outdated, right? Are you kidding me right now? So, now let me bring you back to the question I was teasing you with. Which bank goes first? It takes two to tango, remember? One can't use it. Only internally. You want to start making payments and sending it back and forth, you need someone to play with. What does Brad talk about? Does he talk about one bank or two banks using it? Or does he talk about upgrading SWIFT? We know that SWIFT takes 5 days. XRP get it done in 5 seconds. What else do we know? We're working with the largest banks in the world. Chris Larson acknowledges BIS, the Bank of International Settlements, which is the central bank of central banks.
The institutions like the Bank for International Settlements, right, they spend a lot of time thinking about settlement risk and trying to contain it. Could institutions like that be helpful to you in helping adoption happen faster?
BIS could be. We've met with them. They seem more of a policy arm. So as far as standard settings, yes, So definitely we are cognizant that central banks will play a role. You're seeing a lot of really cool things coming out of the Bank of England. The Bank of Japan now has gotten frankly, I think Japan is really leaping ahead as far as innovation in this category. Fed has actually been pretty constructive. They have a lot of people working on where these technologies mean. So there's a lot of these international bodies and central banks that are part of the mix, which I think just from a credibility standpoint, it kind of gives it a little bit of a seal of approval. It's not like you have separate regulators, enforcement people, but it helps. It helps get the banks comfortable and the tech companies comfortable.
It helps get the banks comfortable and then obviously tech companies comfortable, right? It's the acknowledgement that we've been working, and central banks are going to use it, he said. The BIS, obviously, we're working with them. This is the kind of connections I'm talking about. Wait till you see where we're going here. I hope you understand where we're going here. What does he say?
I think what we're doing and executing on a day-by-day basis is, in fact, taking over SWIFT.
There you go. Okay, now that was years ago. Now, remember the connection between SWIFT being outdated and Citibank being one of the largest liquidity providers, right? Listen.
Bank messages to banks that have liquidity. So to some degree, Citibank and HSBC, really the top two, JPM, those are the top three liquidity banks. And when you're sending SWIFT messages, you're sending messages to banks to release liquidity and making sure the debits and credits match. So to some degree, really boil it down, Ripple's competing with the liquidity of Citi and the messaging of SWIFT, but in one, because we're both messaging and liquidity. And at the end of the day, again, as I described, SWIFT was developed 50 plus years ago. It architecturally hasn't really changed. It does remain slow, days. It does remain, relatively speaking, expensive. And actually, interestingly, it's quite error prone.
There you have it. So I asked the question again, right? Which bank will go first, or two banks go first? Stay with me now. So we know Ripple, Citi, SWIFT, all working together. They've said it in the video. We've played it a bunch. Let's keep moving. What else do we know? We know Ripple Payments Network's being used by large financial institutions, with 15 of the world's largest banks working with Ripple's global consensus ledger. We also know Jasmine Cooper told us that they're about to tap that $70 billion in payment flows on the back end of the XRP ledger into the public DEX. What is that being done for? To provide liquidity from the back end largest banks in the world to the public XRP ledger. Come on in. Disruptive application. Ripple provides sharp contrast to FedNow. Customer dissatisfaction with things like SWIFT in the current system because they're costly, opaque, and slow cross-border remittances. Use blockchain to create its faster, secure, lower-cost application. XRP use grows. Network effects could persuade clients to use Ripple Network over the incumbent SWIFT solution. This would further grow Ripple's business by expanding XRP use as a medium of exchange in cross-border transfers, and would benefit clients by reducing their multi-currency working capital needs. I put this up yesterday and said, we got the old financial system that they keep talking about. Hello, SWIFT, and the old FedWire system and everybody else's domestic system around the world. It's a mess. And the new one that's being built. But stay with me here. Stay with me here. I want to go right here. Let's go here. The current state of the XRP ledger equals 70 billion in payment flows. You see a few cars on that highway being the XRP ledger today, right? But the new financial system is going to ramp everything up. It's going to make it amazing. This new highway is going to create possibilities that never existed before. But I want you to imagine that highway that everybody cracks on because there's not enough flow on it. There's not enough people building on it. Not enough people using it. Isn't this what all the other maxis from other places say about us? Of course it is. But what they have the luxury of saying today will not be a reality soon, because 5,000 banks were just given the green light to use crypto services and assets. And when legislation passes, I believe you're going to see these banks appear on this open, empty highway. And it'll all look a lot different very soon. XRP Ledger, once banks go live using the XRP Ledger DEX, is going to be a very busy highway because the banks are the real places, the real repositories where the real liquidity of the world is found. That's the truth. And after legislation, you're going to see these banks pop up on this ledger that everybody thought was just vacant and barren, right? And then it'll soon look like this. And the more it looks like this, then the more we have an opportunity for XRP once it goes live and the ledger goes live with banks using the XRP Ledger DEX. XRP can be used to settle pairings that were never before possible, always ensuring that we never have a traffic jam on the network. That's where we're going. And it won't be much longer until we see the banks start to pop up on what everybody thinks is a ghost town of a ledger known as XRP. We don't have much longer, ladies and gentlemen. And if you've come this far, why in the hell would you ever quit now? We're going into the Freedom Zone. All you got to do is click the Freedom Zone underneath the title of the video or in the description box and join us inside. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. Come on in. All right, welcome back. We're going to start.